Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, the National Assembly Speaker, Aviwe Mtila, has announced that there will be no voting in secret on the Phala Phala report. Members of Parliament will make their way to Cape Town City Hall to deliberate on the saga around the president's game farm. An independent panel found that he may have a case to answer, and MPs will decide today whether that finding should be acted upon. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is in the mother city with more on this matter. Good morning, Aviwe. So last night we learned that the Speaker had rejected the second request by ATM for a vote by secret ballot. Talk to us about this.
The second time unlucky for the African Transformation Movement. Of course, you do know they were the first ones, Mfundo, to approach the Speaker for these motion of, well, the impeachment process to be underway. And we do know now it is at the stage where the Section 89 inquiry will be deliberated upon, and it will be decided, in fact, if there will be an ad hoc committee to look into the allegations that, of course, are circulating around the president and the Phala Phala Farm Theft. They'll then decide whether it is worth merits to impeach the president, where we do know after, if the inquiry itself is adopted, they will need a two-thirds majority. But today, they only need a 50+1 majority out of the 400 parliamentarians just to decide whether this inquiry itself should go ahead. In fact, I am joined by the African Transformation Movement, the president, Vuyo Zungula. Just to get an understanding, Vuyo, thank you for joining us at eNCA. We do know, of course, that your plea to the Speaker was rejected once more. I want to get a sense of what was in your request to the Speaker the second time around, and maybe a way forward from there.
The Speaker responded on the 4th of December saying she rejects our application because the open ballot system will not prohibit members of Parliament to vote with their conscience. However, what happened on the 5th was the NEC gave an instruction to say this is how their party is going to vote. Over the last weekend, Mr. Mantashe sent a spine-chilling threat to the members of Parliament of the ANC to say if they defy, they are going to be charged and expelled, etc. So we wrote on Sunday to the Speaker, and we attached the exact clip where Mr. Mantashe was saying these words to say, under these circumstances, you can't now think as a Speaker, members of Parliament will not be intimidated and threatened. So we sent that particular letter on Sunday. She responded yesterday, but in her response, she did not deal with the issues that we raised. So we sent another letter in the evening last night because we believe in engagement. We said in the last letter, Speaker, refer to the issues that we raised and respond to those issues. So by 12 o'clock, if we do not get any joy from the Speaker, we'll have no choice than approach the courts for legal remedy to make sure that the voting, when it happens today, it is not done irrationally on an open ballot system where members of Parliament are threatened to vote in a particular manner.
I look at the time, and 12 o'clock is about 2 hours away, just over 2 hours away. So we do understand the parliamentary sitting itself is at 2 p.m. What do you want to come out of court if the Speaker does not respond by 12 o'clock? What are you looking to gain here?
Look, the decision for the Speaker to reject the application for a secret ballot under the current prevailing circumstances, it is irrational. There is no way in which she can rationally say the open ballot system is the way to go, whereas there are open threats. Even last night, a member of Parliament, the president of PAC, Mr. Mzwanele Mnyonso, received an SMS that is saying, Mr. Nyonso Nolomisa, should you vote to support the ATM motion, your days are numbered. Therefore, we're dealing here with threats that are there in the public domain on members of Parliament and the members of the ANC should they decide to vote. They are not voting specifically for the ATM. They are just voting to say, let us further investigate the president for his alleged misconduct and violations of the Constitution on the Phala Phala matter.
So with 230 members of Parliament, the ANC has a clear majority. Are you having conversations with the MPs in terms of them voting to support this motion?
We have engaged all 400 members of Parliament to state that this motion is not about the different political parties. It is about the principle of accountability and Parliament playing its oversight role over the executive. And we are very confident that when the voting is done by secret ballot, we are going to get the 50%+1 because it will mean members will not be confined by their party directives, but rather members will apply their mind on that report and vote to entrench the culture of accountability because members saw and sought to be faithful and loyal to the Republic, and we are very positive. In a secret ballot, we'll get that outcome, but when it is an open ballot, members of Parliament may be influenced or threatened to vote against this report.
And you're saying you've written to the Speaker for the third time now, hoping she'll respond by 12 o'clock to give you and grant you that, in voting in a secret ballot. Parliament sits at 2 o'clock. Will it go ahead, given that you mentioned there's court processes?
We'll have to hear from our legal advisors what's the best way to approach it, whether an interdict or what's the best way to do it after 12, because we have to show to the courts that we've exhausted all avenues when it comes to engaging the Speaker. We did not just run to court wanting court to intervene on a Parliament matter without exhausting the internal Parliament processes. So by us actually taking our time engaging the Speaker, it clearly shows that we are not just crybabies who run to court every time there's an inconvenience. Rather, we believe that there must be debate, there must be engagement with the powers that be in Parliament.
Okay, just lastly, President, of course, is taking the Section 89 report itself on review. You have a court interdict opposing that review by the President. You mentioned the basis that some of them that you've laid out. Do you think it has merit?
Definitely, our opposing papers have got merit, because the President is crying about the rules that were followed, the processes that were followed, and the evidence that was there. Whereas when the independent panel received our submissions as the parties in Parliament, the President received all of those submissions, including the rules and the processes that was going to be followed. The President legitimized the entire process by responding. He did not cite any of these things that he's crying about now. It's only when the outcome does not suit him, he now says, I did not like the process that was followed. I did not like the definition of what evidence or hearsay evidence is. So we believe as the ATM that the President's application is a clear sign of a person that has got something to hide and that wants to stop Parliament from doing its oversight work over him as the President of the country.
And then, should the Section 89 inquiry not be adopted by Parliament, is this the end of it, or what's the way forward?
Look, there's precedence that when Parliament took a decision on the Nkandla matter, it approached the courts because it was irrational. Clearly, even now, it will be an irrational resolution that will be taken by Parliament when an independent panel that is set up by Parliament to investigate the matter comes back to Parliament and says, Parliament, please look further into the matter, and Parliament says, no, we are not going to do that. That would be an irrational decision. However, we are going to sit down, not only ourselves as a party, but also other opposition parties, to chart a way forward, because we believe that if we do not entrench the culture of accountability and executive oversight, we are going to make sure we are going to lose the country, because it will mean all people that are presidents or in the public, public representative can basically do whatever they want and they will not be held accountable. For us as the ATM, what's important today, it is to entrench the culture of accountability in all of the members of the executive.
All right, thank you very much. President of the African Transformation Movement, Vuyo Zungula, threatening more court action should the motion not be adopted by Parliament. Of course, we do know that they failed twice in convincing the Speaker of Parliament to allow the voting to be in secret ballot. Now they're saying that they're trying one more time, wrote one more letter to the Speaker, the third one. And if they do fail, they'll head to courts by 12 o'clock, and that then it will be depending on the courts for the way forward. If indeed we'll sit at 2 p.m. as we are supposed to, and that Section 89 inquiry is supposed to be debated and the votes then thereafter take place.